When I run into people who are Power BI modelers, the two most common questions that come up about Monkey Tools are, is there a version of Monkey Tools for Power BI so that we can have these tools right in our ribbon? And then the second one is, what features actually work with Power BI? So I'm going to address both of those in this video. I'm going to start with the easy one first. Is there a version of Monkey Tools for Power BI? The answer is no. And the reason for this, straight out and simple, is that the majority of the work that Monkey Tools does is it does a lot of work with Power Queries. The problem with Power BI is that while I can write a Power Query into a Power BI file, the entire Power BI file must be restarted from scratch in order for those query changes to be applied. It's not like Excel where I can apply those changes immediately. And to me, that, being that so much of the functionality around Power Query is based on that, it was kind of a, no, we're not going to do that. But having said that, some of the features do work inside Excel if you happen to be in Excel. And I'm going to start with the most used ones and then sort of work my way back to the things that you kind of wish worked, but maybe don't. Okay, so let's start with connecting to a Power BI file. So I'm going to go to a Power BI desktop file right here. I happen to have LP Azure SQL open already, so I'm going to click open on this one and it tells me the data model's been loaded. So one of the big things that I do use this for all the time is when I run into a client and they say, look, I've got some problems with my Power BI model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a model summary report against it immediately. And this will now go and enumerate all of the characteristics of their Power BI file that I want to look at. So it'll actually tell me about the relationships, what the filter directions are. Now these are all many-to-one relationships, but if we've got bidirectional filters, that would show up here. If we've got cardinalities that are different, that would show up here. If the relationships are inactive or active, they would show here as well. So I get some information right there. I can tell where their data is coming from. Is it a Power Query or a DAX table? Is it disconnected? Is it snowflaked? Do we have a whole bunch of extra date tables because somebody forgot to turn off the date flag inside their Power BI model? These are things that I can identify very quickly with a report like this. We have our table column stats that have all the information there, using calculated columns or you're not. Those would show up here. Our DAX expressions for all our measures and our Power Queries, just like you would get from an Excel model. So this is probably one of the most useful pieces right off the bat for me, is being able to analyze a Power BI model just the same as I can an Excel model to see what's going on in a glance. Another thing that's really useful when you're talking to people about their Power BI models, typically they're asking you these questions because of performance. We can also run a memory usage report against the Power BI model to find out exactly how much Power BI memory is being consumed by the data model. This becomes particularly key if you're carrying extra date columns for no reason. I actually had one client where 85% of the memory usage was based on the fact that they had extra date tables that they didn't need, just because they had so many date columns inside their data model. Now, we can't flag in here whether or not these are being used. This is not something that I analyze. I mean, I could, but it would be a lot of development effort. And I haven't done that because I don't know how many people are actually using this. But at the end of the day, we do get the memory footprint in this, so you can start to go and take a look through the table and figure out what is actually taking a big chunk. So in this case here, point of sale chit number, which is being carried as text, is a massive, massive amount of memory on this model. I would look at this and say, boy, can you convert that to a whole number? Because whole numbers compress way better than text. And I'll bet you between these two, we could probably knock the size of that data model down quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I know we could because I've done it many times when I've been playing around with it. So those are a couple of the most useful reports that we actually have that are available right from within our Monkey Tools connected to a Power BI model. We can also run the DMV Sleuth if you're interested in querying your models with DMVs. We have the TM schema DMV set that works, as well as Excel's classic Discover dataset, or DMV. Those both work. But in this case, if I wanted to say, run the columns or something like that and create it, you can see that we're grabbing the DMV right from the Power Pivot or from the data model inside the Power BI file. In addition to this, one of the other cool features that we have are export models to CSV. This also works. So I could come in here and say, hey, let's flip this out to model view. Maybe I don't care about the chit details table or the metrics table, but I want to export my budgets table with all of that information in it. If I go and hit export right now, it has now exported all of the data from the data model inside the Power BI file. And if I go and click on this, we can actually take a look at it. This is the budget file. You can see it's syncing in OneDrive right now because I just recreated. This is exactly when I'm recording this particular video right here. So that works, exporting data from the data model. So that's kind of cool. Now, let's look at the stuff that maybe doesn't work quite as well as we would hope. So the DAX Sleuth does actually work against your data model. There's LP Azure SQL. I can go in and I can see the dependency chain for the measures, and I can even go in and take a measure, change it, and click update. This has now written this back into the Power BI file. So we've now got a 2009 units sold measure that is calculating based on 2010, which is terrible. So let me go and just fix that. I'm going to set this back to 2009, and we'll say update. And I could also go and do other things. Like, for example, if I wanted a, let me see here. I've got a measure here called draft sold. Let's say that I wanted one for wine. So I could come in here and I could say wine, and I could choose to say duplicate, and I could say wine sold. And this will go back and create the new wine sold measure in Power BI. Now, again, it might be nice to have this on the Power BI ribbon, but I think that there's a lot of other community tools that do a much better job of DAX for Power BI than what Monkey Tools would do. And that's why I haven't really invested in taking that one forward there. Let me just close this one here and call out that Pivot Sleuth doesn't make any sense in the context of this because we don't have any pivot tables against that data model. Pivots and filters, the same thing. The measure monkeys do not work against Power BI at this point in time. Time Sleuth can't because all queries have to be reloaded into Excel, and that's not what's happening here. These are inside Power BI, and I can't time the refresh of a Power BI query. Query Sleuth will open, and you can take a look at the query chain. We'll indent things just as we normally would, but the big thing that you'll notice here, the update button is grayed out. And this is the part, honestly, that absolutely kills me about trying to work with Power Query and Power BI. While I can write the changes to the file, in order to apply them, we have to have the file closed and reloaded from scratch. And I don't think I need to tell you, if you work with Power BI, how long that can take. So it seemed to be a real non-starter as far as working with the software. If I could apply changes immediately like I could in Excel, I would absolutely consider putting in the work in order to bring Monkey Tools over to Power BI. That would also allow me to light up all of the features underneath my query monkeys, but unfortunately not a single one of them will work because it's too long to actually make that refresh cycle. So I just haven't invested the time in order to do that. So that's kind of your short summary of the things that will work from Monkey Tools against a Power BI model. Our model summary, model memory usage reports, the unused items we don't track, so those ones won't. The DMV Sleuth does, exporting to your data model does, DAX Sleuth does, those work with full fidelity. The Query Sleuth works in a reduced capacity, but at the end of the day, those are the feature sets from Monkey Tools and how they will interact with Power BI. Thanks for watching this episode of Using Monkey Tools. To get your own monkey, visit our website at monkeytools.ca. Or if you subscribe to Skillwave's Self-Service Business Intelligence Academy, you'll get a free annual pro license included with your subscription. And remember, Monkey Tools was developed to support better Excel and Power BI solutions. If you want to learn how to really master these tools, you should definitely check out our full course catalog at skillwave.training.